Hey guys, I'm back with another video and we have fall candles. Yes, I have my beloved blueberry pumpkin patch 10 years later. Finally, I have it in my possession. So we'll talk about it and haul it. And then a few knickknacks from SAS, of course, while I was like looking for the fall candles. So thank you so much to Samantha who tipped me off on where a juicy store was with a lot of fall candles. And if you follow me on Instagram, I did a lot of Instagram stories going through my thoughts. But if you don't follow me on Instagram, I will briefly run down all my thoughts on the fall stuff of what was out at the store as of now in this video. I'll do that a little bit later on. But yes, fall candles are here, so excited. The one pretty much like, I guess, juicy new one that I wanted was indeed Blueberry Pumpkin Patch, so we will haul it right now. That's what that looks like with the Vera Bradley inspired print on it, and then a like similar print on the top as well. These are $25.95. This one says Farm Fresh Blueberries Ripe Pumpkin Autumn Spice. Of course, this was indeed full price, but I just paid for it because this is a favorite fragrance from like literally 10, 11 years ago. And I like could easily have like, you know, bought an old one on Mercari or whatever, but I can just go into the store and buy it. So I was like, you know what, I just want to test it out and see how it does before it goes on sale and just get it. So that's what I did. So of course, Blueberry Pumpkin Patch was out in 2012. Yes, in the test collection of the Ariel Black, infamous Ariel Black collection, if you remember that video from a long time ago, my OGs. We have it here. Like chocolate bacon cupcake was also on this form, apple cookie, that unscented toffee glazed popcorn, roasted pumpkin butter. And then we had like the ones that went wide, which were like apple crumble and farm stand apple and sweet cinnamon pumpkin and just the usual ones that we get.
So the first one we got was the one that we wanted and we had been eyeing for since it
this one.
Made
oh my god,
cut.
Blueberry Pumpkin Patch.
Yeah, Blueberry Pumpkin Patch.
I've been wanting, ever since this was announced, I was like, blueberry and pumpkins are like two of my favorite scents / fruits. Like, oh geez.
It smells like cereal.
It does. It smells just like blueberry muffins. Like, I don't know if you guys, I was telling you about it. They had like these muffin granola bars where it was like banana and
really
blueberry. And this was the collection all the way back from 2012. It failed this year when it came out in this packaging, but for whatever reason, my super old, no longer open, old school side-by-side White Barn BBW store had this fall collection in. It was, I guess, a White Barn exclusive for that year. I don't know. And so I picked it up and I friggin' loved it. I bought multiple of these. Loved it so much. This one says, harvest the inviting scent of autumn's pumpkins, perfectly ripened blueberries and vanilla praline. This was $19.50 back then, and it was indeed branded a Slacken & Co. candle. That's what that looks like in there. And then in 2013 came the blue wax version that went wide, and I burned that one like just polished it off, and I never even thought to buy a second one of it. I was like, I really enjoy this and I loved it, but I was just like, oh, I guess maybe I'll come back the next year, and it totally didn't. And then I exchanged so I had a heirloom pear, which was totally unscented for me. It just like crazy unscented. It burned fine, but it was very unscented. So I was like, I'm not gonna keep this crap. And so I exchanged it for a Blueberry Pumpkin Patch. And I actually had this in old packaging from last year when it was a test scent, and I actually lived near a store that was like a pseudo test scent for the fall. And I picked that up and I really loved it. I know I got multiples. And now, fast forward all the way to 2023, and we have it. I'm just like so flabbergasted. It's just crazy. This has been like the top of my wish list for a very long time. I think I even did like a one of those like vault mock-up images on my Instagram, and I think Blueberry Pumpkin Patch was in there, and it has been truly at the top of my list. And thank you so much for BBW to like finally granting my wish. If only I could get my wish of manifesting a kind, caring, emotionally intelligent, emotionally mature partner who doesn't play games, that is also on high top of my list. If that could also be granted, I would be really happy. But until that day has come, we will just enjoy the Blueberry Pumpkin Patch that has manifested into my life. So there's that. But any case, yeah, it's just crazy. And like Blueberry Maple Pancakes is usually the one that like comes in through the blue wax blueberry slot for fall time, and that doesn't seem to be coming out, at least in this first phase. So, but I will happily take Blueberry Pumpkin Patch. So what does it smell like? It's kind of like a spiced blueberry muffin. It pretty much does smell just like the old version. Of course, this is like super old and I haven't burned it. And it's been mixed with other waxes, so it smells a little bit off and just that usual sort of like dingy old fragrance. But this one, yeah, it's like a spiced like blueberry muffin. If you've ever had one of those like a blueberry muffin granola bar or like a breakfast bar that's like a blueberry muffin flavor that's like spiced and like berry-ish, it kind of smells like that. Or if you took something like Captain, like what is it, Captain and Crunch Berries type of like almost as a cereal Trix vibe to it as well. It kind of has that vibe to it as well, and I like it. There's definitely like a spiciness and a berryness in there, and objectively speaking, it is kind of like a slightly generic fall berry spice fragrance that, like, in contrast with the hype that I might be providing to you guys, you might smell and just be like, oh, it's just kind of like another generic spicy berry fragrance. And I don't know if it's just like the marketing and the fact that it was a test scent the first year around, and then the second year had also really juicy packaging on it that, like, you know, you have like a nostalgic connection to it. So if you're coming into it new and you don't have a nostalgic connection, I could see somebody potentially smelling this and be like, it's generic and cool, whatever. I love that for you. But for me, I do enjoy it, and I'm just super excited to see it again. So yeah, Blueberry Pumpkin Patch right there. Yeah, this is just totally a vault fragrance that I just did not expect it would come out. Like when I mocked it up last year or whatever, like, you know, it was totally just like a pipe dream kind of thing. So I don't know. I don't know if they're listening or I don't know what it is, but I'm just excited for it. So yes, the packaging is just kind of take it or leave it, to be completely honest, but I like at least the blue wax on it. But like a juicy blueberry pumpkin photo label is a lot more enticing, to be completely honest. So it is what it is. Let's see, other SAS. Oh wait, let me go into other fall stuff. Let's see. So I went in the store and took a crap load of photos. Friggin' Blue Jasmine and Currant from the Neutrals collection, which has notes of blue jasmine, currant nectar, and crystal peonies. I smelled that, and the ILN is the same as the Blue Jasmine candle from the Henry Bendel 3-wick test collection that we had. That was like a luxury test that I guess didn't go wide, and there was a Blue Jasmine fragrance in there that has the same ILN and very similar notes to it, which also has very similar notes and presumably the same as the single wick Blue Jasmine from Henry Bendel from many, many years ago. So what's really confusing is, okay, so these fragrances are like, you know, all the same, and it turns out that Blue Jasmine and Currant, it just literally smells like 1,000 Wishes, which like we've had as a body care fragrance right here, and that's what that looks like. And this one had notes of crystal peonies, almond cream, and sparkling champagne. Yeah, it smells just like this. It's that perfumey 1,000 Wishes fragrance. And so it's just super weird that 1,000 Wishes exists as 1,000 Wishes. It's had many iterations of its own candle before. And then they tested it as a Blue Jasmine fragrance in Henry Bendel. And then now it's out as Blue Jasmine and Currant in the Neutrals collection for fall time. It's just, none of it makes sense. I really don't understand it. But then what it does is it makes you question whether or not the original single wick Henry Bendel like boxed Blue Jasmine was also actually 1,000 Wishes, like way back in the day, and they like take a Henry Bendel single wick fragrance and turn it into a body care fragrance and I call it 1,000 Wishes then. I just don't know. It's just so mind-boggling and confusing that like this fragrance is just pretty much 1,000 Wishes, but it's like in these different names and between Henry Bendel and Bath & Body Works now, and it's just, I don't even know, like what, maybe like they like 1,000 Wishes and it does well enough in that packaging, but I guess maybe when they tested it as Blue Jasmine in the like, you know, the 3-wick Henry Bendel test, that one did the best, and so they're like, okay, maybe we can try and re-promote 1,000 Wishes as something called something different and see if we can get even a better bestseller than just 1,000 Wishes as 1,000 Wishes. I don't know. There's got to be a method to their madness, but it's just truly maddening. So, but in case, Blue Jasmine and Currant literally smells like 1,000 Wishes. So just absolute craziness. Let's see what else in that Neutrals collection. There was something called Cypress and Cedarwood, which had notes of fresh cypress, mineral sea salt, and cedarwood. It's just one of those like rando, fresh, clean, like woodsy fragrances, like where it smells more like just like wood or like saltiness with a little bit of citrus in there. It's not really like a super full-blown cologne fragrance, like just one of those like boring weirdo like in that gray White Barn Neutrals test packaging that we had, like one of those ones that like vetiver, cedar, this, that, or the other that I just really don't care about. So that existed. It is not cypress and amber, even though it's in a similar like green color. It is not at all that. I think Leather and Brandy was also out in updated packaging, and that was it for those. Then there was some like new, like the summer stuff. Patchouli and Rosewood is coming out in a 3-wick. I did smell that. It smells just like the single wick that we had, as well as the test version from the Ingredients Plus collection that we had prior as well. It's like a nice fragrance. It's kind of like a higher end, almost like a slightly like a rose perfume fragrance, but nothing that I'm like, oh my god, so into. I would say the closest thing to it would be the what is it, the pink rose leather, whatever that is, which was also rose oud. It's like in a similar family to that, but it's nice enough. I would maybe entertain it with a good sale, but I'm not like super excited for it. But it's kind of like more of those high-end fragrances. The lid did smell kind of fishy though, to be completely honest. There was something called Blue Lavender Breeze, which had notes of wild lavender, creamy sandalwood, and a splash of coconut milk. This smelled very familiar, and it smells very similar to lavender coconut, but maybe even like a more creamier, sweeter, juicier version of it, but still very similar to lavender coconut. I would have to burn it to see if it's truly a repackage or not. Lavender coconut is also very similar to lavender sea in that like mermaid collection that we had. And then not as similar, but still very similar is there was a lavender woods fragrance. Was that what it was? That was very similar to that as well, but more woodsy and less sweet, juicy coconut. But Blue Lavender Breeze is very similar to lavender coconut, which I actually really enjoyed that fragrance. It kind of smells like a hair salon hair product for some reason, but that exists. So there was that. Endless Sea, I think the mini FFM is like previewing it in stores right now, and I did smell it there, but I did smell the Endless Sea candle, and while the packaging is very pretty and enticing, the fragrance is kind of just like meh, just whatever. It's just like this light, clean, like fresh fragrance that's kind of unisex, but still has like a floral tinge to it that it just kind of leads a little bit more, I guess, feminine, but a light, clean floral that's maybe a tad soapy and clean. Think of like just like the generic like nondescript florals that you would get from like Wildflower Meadows or something like that. Just kind of packaging is pretty, but fragrance is just whatever. Like if it was called like Lillian Driftwood in a Neutrals collection, I'd be like, okay, whatever. There's a Wild Sand. The candle of that was not out. I smelled the mist, but it was just like this like warm fruity fragrance, but even then it was very light, so I couldn't get a super good read on it, so I don't really know what that will smell like. All the White Barn Core Color Run was out at that store as well. The same old salted butterscotch, frozen lake flannel, sweater weather, pumpkin spice latte, pumpkin pecan waffles, nothing of interest there whatsoever. There was that other like Color Run collection with like honey crisp apple, pumpkin clove, leaves, flannel, cranberry woods, all the same stuff. It smells just like it has every other year, so total pass on that. And then we had this collection. It was only a select ones, like they didn't have pumpkin peanut brittle out yet, or the freshly brewed coffee. Those were not out yet, but pumpkin cinnamon bun was out. It smelled just like last year's version, which is the one that's a little bit more heavy on the icing and not so like warm bakery as it was the very first year it came out. The very first year had a little bit more of this like pumpkin pecan waffles, sugared snickerdoodle, like cinnamon bun bakery base was a little bit more present, whereas the second version is a little bit more icing forward, and it smelled like that icing version. So there was that. What was it like? Caramel Pumpkin Swirl was also out. We don't need to even talk about that. A whole slew of single wick candles, all repackages, like Pumpkin Peanut Brittle was out in a single wick too. Don't need to talk about that. And a few room sprays, and I think that was the extent of the summer collection, the fall collection at the store that was there. So yes. Thank you so much for the tip again. I was excited to smell all the fall candles that were there. Blueberry Pumpkin Patch was really the only one that's like so juicy that I want to pay full price for, and I rarely ever pay full price for a candle. But like, if it's something that I've been begging for like 10 years now, yeah, I'm like super jazzed for it. So excited to finally have that in my possession. And I think that was that. Super early fall release. We're like, what is it, June 11th? And we have fall candles. It's just absolutely crazy. But I like, here I am still buying it at full price. So like, they know what we want, so it works, I guess. So there was that. Now let's go on to a few little SAS knickknacks. yeah, I wasn't really super on the hunt for anything, but I had done the review for Marshmallow, Fireside, and Black Cherry Merlot, and I actually really ended up enjoying this one. So there's that. I did this in like my pre-SAS haul: toasted marshmallow, crystallized amber, wild black cherries, and velvety red wine. I'm like half done with the first one, and I'm really enjoying it. And this makes a beautifully perfect fall candle that is very reminiscent to Radiant Red Maple, which is another fall fragrance that I've been asking for a long time. So, like, in the same year to have something that's very similar to Radiant Red Maple and also Blueberry Pumpkin Patch, like, oh my god, I'm all about it. So, it's not exactly this, but very similar. This is aromas of a crisp red Macintosh apple, smoky woods, and a hint of toasted marshmallow bring a feeling of fall into the air. This is very similar to this. This one is a little bit stronger on the Marshmallow Fireside and like way dialed down the cherry and the fruit note, whereas this one is stronger on that juicy sweet apple, but you still get heaps of that same very similar Marshmallow Fireside fragrance. They both have this like weird like fermented fruit juice note mixed with Marshmallow Fireside, and it's kind of weird, but I actually really like the blend of how the fruit interacts with the fermented fruit interacts with the Marshmallow Fireside component. So I do like that. Yeah, this one is just stronger on the apple as well, but they are very much sibling fragrances. Like, if you're looking for the next best thing, this is truly it. I know some of you guys said it doesn't smell anything like Radiant Red Maple and it's totally unscented, and I don't know what to tell you, but the one I have, I'm enjoying it. It's not the strongest scent by any means, but I can still smell it adequately in a smaller bedroom, so I'm totally fine with that. So yeah, super jazzed for it. So this one was one that I did pick up another one of from the blends. The other blends I really didn't care for, not enough to burn or to buy another one. Yeah, not at all. This was truly the only one. So, but excited for that. Once again, to have something very similar to Radiant Red Maple and Blueberry Pumpkin Patch in the same like season, like yeah. So there was that. Let's see what else is going on. Oh my god, I'm gonna get flamed on Reddit for this, but whatever. Pink Lavender and Espresso. Did I put this in my like top 5 worst of spring or whatever? Possibly. Rich pink lavender, caramel, espresso beans, and smooth vanilla. I think I was saying I was disappointed in this. Not that I didn't care for the fragrance, but I was disappointed that it was pretty much lavender marshmallow. But after I put out that video, of course, I kept burning it just to try to finish the candle. And in my like quest to just finish and toss the candle, I actually really enjoyed burning and finishing the candle. That I was like, it's actually really nice to have a lavender marshmallow that doesn't do that weird smoky, burnt, nasty thing that it does like literally on every single lavender marshmallow has. It gets like duddy, burnt, and nasty, and it smells like burnt like barbecue lavender. It's like absolutely disgusting. But this is the like one version of lavender marshmallow that actually like burns down fine and doesn't dud out on me. If anything, it sometimes burns a little bit too hot and it gets very, very, very sooty. But I feel like this newer batch has maybe a size wick down on it because it's not sitting anywhere as near as much as the first version, and it's a little less stronger than the first one too because it doesn't burn as hot. So I've noticed that my PB&J ice cream, the original version I had one like wick size thicker rope like wicks on it, and then the one that I got recently for SAS had a smaller rope like wick, and it burns cooler and it doesn't throw as hot. So I don't know, sometimes maybe the second like batch gets a slightly different wick on it. Kind of weird, or maybe I'm just imagining things, I don't know. But this is also, you know, the newer version because it says caramel on it instead of caramel. And since we all know that we're supposed to take the notes like totally as truth and the Bible, and that there's 100% like truth to it and it's non-negotiable when they list something as a note on the packaging, like it's most certainly in there, and if they change the notes on the same fragrance from one year to another, you're supposed to believe that 100%, and like it's just non-negotiable. So like the fact that this one says caramel on it, I feel like it smells a lot more like caramel instead of caramel as in the city Carmel, which the other one smelled a little bit more like Carmel, Indiana, whereas this one smells more like caramel because that's what's listed on the notes. It's not at all just a human being going on a computer typing whatever they want. Not at all like that. So yes, this one says caramel on it, so just so much more caramel action in this instead of Carmel, Indiana. So love that. And then we have 2 body care items. I had a reward that was expiring, and even though this is like literally $3.95 right now, I was just like, I have no idea what to get. Like, let me just use it on body care and call it a day. So we have Golden Sunflower right here. I actually really enjoy this. I remember when it first came out, I really didn't care for it, and I was just like, whatever. But I really love it this time around. Sunflower petals, orange flower, and fresh vanilla. This is juicy. So like, they don't very much release a lot of floral fragrances anymore, unless it's like something super perfumed as like a single fragrance launch. But this is very floral, and I love it in that kind of like orange flower, orange blossom, more heady, like mature white floral fragrance type of action to it. It's really juicy. I love this. Yeah, I don't know what I was smoking before, but I'm actually really into this. So I've been using this a lot, and I was like, okay. So Golden Sunflower right there. Love it. If you're somebody like me who likes those like more heady, like heavy floral fragrances, and you rarely ever get that anymore from BBW, check this out. Yeah, so super juicy. And then this was 75% off, and I've been eyeing this forever because I really enjoyed Cloud 9, and I was like, I wouldn't mind like so like when this first came out, was Pastel Skies and Cloud 9 in the same collection, and Pastel Skies had a shower gel, but Cloud 9 didn't for whatever reason. And then I got Cloud 9 in this new updated, more drab, boring packaging this year, and I actually really enjoyed that. So I was like, you know what, I wouldn't mind seeing like what Pastel Skies smells like, which is like the more fruity, cutesy version. So I did get that. This is like spun like berry sugar and like coconut musk or something or another. I don't even know. It's in the faceted collection. It was like $3 and some change. So I picked that up. Very light fragrance. I used the fine fragrance mist, and it was very light. It like fades away very quickly, but what I smelled of it was really juicy, awesome, and just like a cotton candy sugary sweetness with like some perfume action to it. And the shower gel is pretty much the same, but like you used it in the shower, and then like it's just like completely gone, just like poof. The moment you walk out the shower, like you do not smell this like as a dry down whatsoever. And like the fine fragrance mist is also very weak, so I guess that's not surprising. The shower gel is weak. Like, I like what I'm smelling while it's in the shower, but it's not very strong at all. But that's kind of expected of these like vanilla, sweetsy, sugary fragrances. They just don't really have a strong lasting power unless you put like a heavy woods or floral as a base note. So it is what it is. It's juicy when I'm using it, but I just wish it was stronger. It is, however, very, very, very similar. If anyone remembers that like La Francois collection or whatever it was that French collection that had like that Riviera fragrance in it, maybe, and the La Fleur, and there was something called Bonjour Paris, which was like this pink macaron fragrance. This smells so similar to that Bonjour Paris, but just much lighter. And so if you like Bonjour Paris, this is like the next best thing to it. So check that out. So Pastel Skies right there. And I think that is it. Yes, so excited to get a little bit of fall action going on, and also like really digging this as well. And I don't know, I just like really burning this in the morning. It's like, even though I really don't get a whole lot of espresso in it, it's just, I guess, fun to imagine that it does, and then also have like a well-performing lavender marshmallow in my collection as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you're excited for from fall, and has anybody found any like juicy hidden gems in their SAS? Like, just totally boring snooze fest in every single store I go to. It's just the same thing. A ton of citron and tonic, a million of the blends, candles, and the Cactus Blossom like fabric collection, and like Blue Sky Breezes like shoved in there, a crap load of Vivid Emerald, and like no 75% off candles, and a crap load of body care. But I think the entire goal with Bath & Body Works at this point is for them not to have a ton of overstock. So like from a business standpoint, you don't want to have a crap load of overstock that you have to clearance out and sell for something at a lower price than you intended. So like, they are successful or good if they don't have a crap load of overstock to have to clearance down to 75% off. Like, you're actually doing something right. Like, in an ideal world, I think they might not even want a semi-annual sale from like a overstock inventory management standpoint, where they want obviously less overstock and more stuff sold out regularly through the season, and have, you know, less clearance to have to get rid of in an ideal world. But at the same time, they still want the hype and juicy marketing and theming of semi-annual sale, and like rummaging through the bins and like trying to at least evoke the idea that there might be hidden gems or treasures to come into the store, when that simply just does not happen anymore. So yeah, I think it's a delicate balance between still having the semi-annual sale, but also having great inventory management of not having to have overstock to clearance out. So I think that's kind of where they're at right now. And yeah, so it is what it is. I think if anything, like SAS is really more so just like a mini floor set, so to speak, where they are actually, when you think about it, still releasing new product to fill the bins. Like Golden Sunflower, Disco Daydream, Rainbow Waves, that's actually new product made for the sale. Same with all the blends, same with the Cactus Blossom, like top seller collection as well. What is it, that whipped coconut milkshake? That's actually really just like new fragrances or new product that they're putting out for another floor set. And then as a bonus, we have some overstock in this floor set as well. So I think it's like maybe time to like start switching the mindset of like SAS is not so much super heavy clearance driven. I mean, it is to some extent, but they're more so actually putting out new product as a new floor set with clearance and overstock as a bonus that they just need to get rid of during this semi-annual sale. So just something interesting to think about, at least from a business and inventory standpoint. But any case, I feel like I just rambled on forever. So thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.